Welcome back to Team O'Neill. I'm Wyatt. What we're going to look at today is the high lift jack. First, we'll take a look at the basic principles of operating one of these as safely as you possibly can, and then we'll look at a couple of practical examples where this might be useful. These things have become a real staple of off-roading, and what you're going to find is there's some pretty major safety concerns and some pretty limited usability with a stock platform like this. So let's take a look at what they're really good at, what they're really not good at. By the end of this, at least you'll know the strengths and weaknesses and how to use one properly. And then, given all the pros and cons, decide whether this is something that you need to add to your kit for whatever you might be doing out there. All right, so the basics you need to know about a high lift jack like this. The kind of operating load limit for something like this is usually right around 5,000 pounds. That's at least a good ballpark for a high quality American jack like this. Whatever way it shakes out though, if this is the first time you picked up a jack like this, there's two basic modes you need to know about. You've got essentially your climb mode, which is when this lever is in the up position as it is now, which is where you're going to do your climbing. And then you've got the descend mode, which is when you whack this lever down. When there's load on this, you can climb it down. When there's no load on this, the jack's gonna go ahead and bottom out. The biggest thing you need to know about a jack like this is that it will try to kill you. So the basic kind of universal safety rules with a jack like this, when you're in the climb position, go ahead and click that lever up. You'll feel the pin engage. Say you're gonna start jacking something at about this height, you can go ahead and just lift this up to about where you want to be. And then when you decide it's time to start lifting, nothing should ever come in between this handle and the body of the jack. This right here is your danger triangle. That means you're not holding the handle of the jack body like this or putting your thumb in there. Same thing with the handle. And certainly, you've all seen somebody with their head in this gap and they're jacking and looking at something like this. That is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. You always want to hold this jack body in such a way that you don't have any fingers in that danger zone when this is going to come up and whack it. You could be here, you could be there, doesn't really matter. And same with this jack handle. So as you're jacking, in this case, you could be up high, that's fine. Or you can kind of keep that C-shaped grip and just, you don't need a lot there in order to get that to climb. Again, this would need to have some real load on this in order to climb in the down position. I'm not gonna be heavy enough. Yep, it's just gonna slide straight down. That's the basics of handling a jack like this. So as far as kind of practical applications off-road driving around a stock vehicle like this, they're gonna be pretty limited. You know, looking at the front end of this thing, are you gonna wanna pick this up and start jacking right now? Absolutely not. And that's something you're gonna find with almost all stock vehicles, unless you've got some kind of a heavy-duty off-roading bumper here, you're not gonna wanna do that. You know, all that's going to happen if we get this underneath here and start jacking up is we're going to destroy the front bumper. There is a little bit of a heavier duty cross member, but it's set way in there. We're not going to be able to really reach that. So you say, Wyatt, don't be an idiot, jack it up off the rocker panels. Well, sort of two major problems with that. One, same situation. This rocker right here is not going to support the weight of the vehicle, and you're not going to be able to get into the frame or really any other structural part. All you're probably going to get is a whole bunch of body damage. You see the insane angle outward that this jack would have to be at to even try and get into sort of, there's a little pinch weld on the body right there that might give you some purchase. If we try jacking up on this right now, it's just going to destroy this rocker panel, probably pinch the door closed. Probably this is all going to interfere with the door. And because of this, you know, pretty steep angle outwards that the jack has, you know, when I'm in there, it's at about this angle. If you do pick the truck up at all, chances are it's just going to tip over anyways. Same thing's gonna happen, you know, if you tried to come in here off of this fender or something like that, it's just gonna be really ugly and expensive. One really good trick that you will see out there is to use a strap or a chain or something else to get in through the spokes of the wheel. Something like a short tree strap, if you can get in there and around and come out to this, you might be able to then use that as a lifting point. That would essentially pick this tire and wheel up off the ground. You know, if you're stuck, then you could pack some rocks and stuff under there maybe. It's a really nice trick, but again, with these wheels that we've got equipped on here and most stock standard wheels, you're not really gonna be able to do that. There are some specific pieces of kit that have hooks on them, like you see at the end of ratchet straps and things like that a lot of time, that will be able to hook in to a couple of those holes and give you a point out there. So if you happen to have spent your 40 bucks on that specific little strap, great. In this case, if you don't have one and you're not willing to just like run a chain through and possibly damage something, that's not gonna be a great option either. So you say, Wyatt, run the thing off the rear bumper, don't be an idiot. In this case, we don't really even have a rear bumper, but what you are gonna find is any rear bumper that's on here is a crumple zone. It's a crush zone. It's meant to absorb impacts for all the safety standards and all the stuff that these modern vehicles have to go through. And really they have for a long time. There are maybe a couple of bumpers, but for 99% of stock production vehicles, if you try and jack off of the rear bumper, whatever's there is going to collapse. The bumper will fail, the car won't pick up, you won't be any further towards your goal. Kind of the only one spot in a vehicle like this that you might want to go for is into the receiver hitch if you have one. If you go directly into a trailer receiver hitch, you're going to be good to go. Can you buy heavy duty aftermarket off-road bumpers and rock sliders for the rocker panels and all of that? Absolutely. But the moral of the story is if your vehicle isn't outfitted like that, then this is almost useless to you. Really, in an off-road sense, one of the more useful ways to deploy this piece of kit is as a hand winch. So say we've got our truck stuck behind us, we happen to get a nice tree strap on this tree right here, got my tow strap going out to the Toyota. What you essentially want to do is put the high lift in this system and use it to crank the truck closer to us. There are a number of different ways you can rig this. As you can see, what we've done is simply run a tree strap to a regular shackle, just your conventional screw pin bow shackle. You are free to unscrew this and move this jaw anywhere up or down here you'd like, as well as at the end facing out. And then at the other end, what we've done, we've got a tow strap with, again, a standard screw pin style bow shackle that we're going to be simply hooking around here. Your other option, of course, is to forgo the shackle completely and just run this over here. And actually, that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now, just because this feels like it has less of a risk of slipping and moving around and doing something unpredictable than does this. Feels like it could slide off there more easily. So we're gonna run it, give it a shot, and see what happens. All right, so we've got some load on the system here. We've got our jack in the climb position, and all you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and go fully all the way down to the bottom and then all the way back up to the top. And you need to hear that pin click each and every time. As I'm doing this, I'm in a position where I've got that sort of C-shaped clamp, and if something goes wrong, I can let go of that handle. Your entire body kind of behind the line of fire with this, because if for whatever reason something does let go, that's not where you want anything to be. You could go ahead in this manner as long as you needed to until that vehicle was out of whatever hole it was in, whatever you had going on. So that's going to work pretty well for you. You're going to be able to pull this vehicle out of whatever mess you got yourself into. One problem is that you've got to do it a little less than 4 feet at a time and then reset. You're essentially doing the same job that a come-along can do, only worse. You know, you could go online right now and order a 5-ton come-along that can pull, 8 or 10 feet at a time. They don't weigh much, they're small, they're affordable. You could stow it in a little bag in the trunk and have 5 tons is 10,000 pounds. This guy right here, if he's only good for 7,000 pounds, that's only 3.5 tons. This weighs something like 30 pounds. You've got to have a special system to like attach it to your vehicle or strap it down in your trunk so that it's not moving around. The moral of the story is it will do this, and the people trying to sell you these love to show you this as an added feature, and for sure it could save the day somewhere and get you out of trouble. But with a normal standard vehicle, if this is the only application for this, the other things do it much better. All right, so let's take it to the danger zone. So all I've done here is I've flipped this over just to show you the mechanics of what we've got going on, because now that we've moved this truck, we need to take pressure back off of this again. Or again, if you've jacked your vehicle up to change a tire or get out of a hole, now you need to set it back down. How are you going to do that? The answer is with this jack handle up. Flip this lever from climb to descend, from up to down, simple enough. And then you're going to repeat the same action that you were doing, except as you click it down here, now you've got the weight of this, right? And you need to let it slowly out till you hear it click again. And that has to click fully. This pin's up, that pin's down. That pin engages again. Now, as I pull on this, you see what happens. This upper pin is now up, so that one's free and it's going to travel into the next hole. The problem is that now there's a fair amount of weight on this lever. So when you're descending, keep really good control of the handle until it's all the way down. Click, back. What you do not want to do, and happens oh so commonly, is take the weight of this and then for some reason your hand slips. Because this isn't even under that much load right now, but you can see that was a much more forceful impact than when we were climbing with the jack. So particularly when you're lowering an object, be really, really careful of that. It's nice to obviously wear decent grippy gloves, do everything you can to keep your hands out of the way. Once you've sort of got the hang of it and you know what to look for, of course, it's safe enough. And you just drop that all the way down until eventually it freeloads and you can get this strap back off. So that's the real basics of the high lift style jack. Hopefully now if you run into one of these things, you'll know the basics of how to use it. You'll be able to get yourself around and get out of a bad situation, hopefully safely. Again, whether you're climbing or descending, always beware this angle of death. And hopefully we've accurately shown sort of the strengths and weaknesses of a jack system like this on a stock standard vehicle. If you've got very heavy duty bumpers front and rear and rock sliders under the rocker panels and all of that stuff, this can be a really great tool to have and really versatile, and you can do a lot with it. But certainly for a standard production vehicle like this, it's not going to be a very useful tool for you. It's also pretty bulky, it's pretty heavy. If it's bouncing around, it's almost just more dangerous to have one with you. And you will see a lot of people out there on the trail and here on YouTube using these in just really dangerous ways. If you are doing some off-roading in a more stock standard vehicle, especially if you're out there solo, something like a 5-ton come along, a little hand winch and a couple of straps and shackles and some gear like that is going to get you a lot further. It's also going to be more convenient in basically every respect. So thank you as always for watching. If you're watching this video sort of real time, here we are in March 2020. Please be safe out there. Take care of yourselves, try and stay entertained, have some fun if you can. If you're into these kinds of videos and you've got some time on your hands, please check out our channel and consider subscribing. We've got a ton of high-speed content, off-road content, all kinds of vehicle-based stuff. If you'd like to get behind the wheel yourself, please check out teamoneil.com, where you can sign up to take rally driving courses, drifting classes, and all kinds of really fun automotive stuff. Other than that, have fun, be safe, and we'll catch you next time.